You mentioned hepatitis B vaccine. Now CDC doesn't recommend anymore to take this vaccine on a date of birth.
Well, as of yesterday, they took it off the schedule entirely as routine in the United States.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that, by the way, is in line with many other countries. I mean, Denmark, for example, vaccinates about 0.01 or 1% of children. They only give the hep B vaccine to hep-B-positive children of hep-B-positive mothers and certain very high-risk groups. So virtually no children in Denmark get the hep B vaccine. Forget day one of life. They don't get it at all, period. And so you have virtually no kids get it in Denmark, a high rate in America. You know what the outcomes of chronic hep B amongst children between the Denmark and the US? Not statistically significant. They're effectively the same. But you know what the difference is between vaccine injury from hep B vaccine in the US versus Denmark? A lot in America, you got virtually zero in Denmark.
Yes, you mentioned that just yesterday CDC changed vaccine schedule. Can you tell us what changed? Which vaccine are still there? And what do you think? These 11 diseases that are still covering these vaccines, is there an explanation why they stay in this schedule?
Well, so starting with the ones that remained, President Trump asked that there be an evaluation comparing American schedule to peer nations, to other countries. And that evaluation, it found that there's these 11 diseases that you just talked about. Those vaccines are typically recommended in most other peer nations. And so they just weren't addressed. They were left alone. If you read the underlying report, it just said they're not considered. So they're not left because they were some thorough evaluation. To the contrary, they were just not addressed. Instead, what they did yesterday, from my reading of the documents, is they just addressed the vaccines that are not routinely given in peer nations. And so for those, they looked at it and they said, you know what? It makes sense. Those shouldn't be routine. So they pulled 5 vaccines off of the routine schedule in the US: hep B, rotavirus, flu, meningococcal, and hepatitis A. So those 5 are no longer routinely recommended on the US schedule. So that removes a number of doses. Still leaves a lot, but it removes a good number.
Yeah, I think the number of doses were around 80, 85, and now it will be around 30.
Yeah, so in the first year of life, it's gone down now from routine, from 25 to about 18, so a reduction. And then it's about half the number over the full course of childhood now in the US.
There is one more belief that vaccine stopping a spread. Is this just belief, or we can prove this?
So for most vaccines, that's not the case. Most vaccines do not prevent transmission. They might reduce symptoms, but they don't stop transmission. Again, there's what people are led to believe, and then there's what the actual, even CDC and FDA and WHO admit in their internal documents, right? So most vaccines, even required for school here in the US, I don't know what it's like where you are, do not stop transmission. Pertussis vaccine does not stop transmission, as an example. In fact, if you're vaccinated with the pertussis vaccine, you're potentially more likely to transmit the pertussis bacteria because you are less likely to have symptoms, but you're equally as likely to have it being carried in your nasopharynx and kissing kids and your grandkids and so forth.
You mentioned hepatitis B vaccine. Now CDC doesn't recommend anymore to take this vaccine on a date of birth.
Well, as of yesterday, they took it off the schedule entirely as routine in the United States.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that, by the way, is in line with many other countries. I mean, Denmark, for example, vaccinates about